Psst, check out my Patreon. Next on the agenda is an episode called Worship. No, this has nothing to do with church. Rather, it's what the citizens of Townsville are doing to the Fashionistas now that they're up to their evil tricks again. Oh, what's this? The Fashionistas are being used competently again instead of being wasted on a stupid romance plot that completely sabotages their reputations as the best new villains in the reboot? Praise the heavens! Yeah, that's right. The Fashionistas are back on their game, baby.
You can change his mind.
Worship.
Here, take it.
Thanks, darling. You're a lifesaver.
The episode begins with Bianca and Barbarous Bikini robbing a nearby diamond store to kick things off with a crime in the first 30 seconds of the story. This is already a good sign of things to come. Their main plan of attack this time around is their use of a brainwashing formula embedded in this magic perfume they spray in the air, which manipulates Townsville citizens into getting them whatever they want. The name of this product? Simply Worship.
What is that supposed to do?
Worship.
The Powerpuff Girls show up right on cue to put a stop to this, but it only results in their minds being controlled too, leading to their assistance in acquiring all of Townsville's rubies for the Fashionistas and then flying on home without a second thought. It's a pretty run-of-the-mill supervillain scheme if you couldn't already tell, but thankfully it's episodes like this that the reboot ever so desperately needs, so by no means is this a bad thing. I'm torn on how I feel about the idea of this being another mind control the citizens episode. On one hand, I find the use of a mind control perfume a little uncreative, if only because the Fashionistas have already done a plot similar to this one another time before, except instead of a compelling fragrance, they used luxurious neck warmers to get their way. On the other hand, it's not out of the ordinary for supervillains to try similar plans with new adjustments in order to achieve better results than their previous attempts. Why not repeat something you've already done, except make some tweaks on what didn't work last time, you know? While I do wish the Fashionista characters would be used for something else because we have seen this type of episode already, it's not detrimental to the characters because there are some differences between Worship and Fashion Forward. For instance, the fact that they actually mind controlled all three of the girls. Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks of Worship compared to the neck warmers is that the effects of the perfume only last for a short time before it wears off, meaning Bianca and Barbarous cannot maintain consistent control without providing continuous exposure to the subjects. This is a glaring flaw that the neck warmers didn't have, and I'm surprised they didn't actually see this oversight.
Smelling it must temporarily hypnotize people to do their bidding. Ah, great. What do we do now? Cut off our noses? But my face will look terrible without one!
While watching this conversation with the girls, I just have to wonder why it was necessary for the Powerpuff Girls to be shown to have nostrils that appear whenever it's convenient for them to be acknowledged. This isn't the first time it's been done either, and just because their design doesn't naturally have a nose on it to begin with, doesn't mean that one needs to be added for this gag to work. Everybody in the audience just assumes they can smell regardless. In fact, this line would have been better had we not seen the nose, because it would have been played on the imagination in the same way the rock, paper, scissors gag did from the original, for example. Some self-awareness about the fact that they lack a nose would be better than showing us this.
These one-of-a-kind glass slippers belonged to Cinderella's horse, Melvin.
Why? Cinderella had a horse named Melvin? What? Whatever. Point is that the Fashionistas rob another priceless item from a pristine establishment, and the girls show up to stop them once again. This time with nose plugs, although the Fashionistas outsmart this attempt too by getting the perfectly ordinary, everyday, average, uninteresting, not special in any way whatsoever human beings to chase them out of the building. I'm honestly convinced season 2 was a fluke for these characters because it is such a relief to see them back to their evil ways. So evil, in fact, that they now plan to fly their blimp over Townsville and douse the entire city in permanent perfume that will cause everyone to serve them for eternity. But now, this begs the question of why didn't they just use the permanent formula from the beginning and expose what they were doing to the world before it was time to put the main plan into action? I mean, I could see these other heists being tests tests so that the Fashionistas could see how effective the formula was in their attempts to perfect it, but no indication is provided in this episode and thus can only be left up to interpretation. On top of that, they could have just tested this on an individual or a smaller group of people in a private venue rather than a public store. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like this was very smart on the villain's part.
I'm sorry, Powerpuff Girls. I simply cannot help you defeat the Fashionistas. Don't even bother asking again. You won't change my mind.
Regardless, the girls find themselves at home when who else but this random lady we've never seen or heard of before and will never see again shows up and tells the girls that she cannot help them.
I don't do stop. I simply cannot help you. Don't even bother to beg. It's impossible to even try.
Sure. Well, after some brief miscommunication, next we get a montage in which the four of them find themselves... are they really doing an avant-garde parody sequence again?
We'll have to do it with style.
Yeah, we get it. Art is absurd. I know perfume commercials can be weird, but this barely feels like a parody of a perfume commercial. This is just the avant-garde randomness sequence from 15 Minutes of Fame again. This could have been a great opportunity to do a hilarious perfume commercial parody, but instead it's just another random nonsense moment for the sake of mocking high art. More stock images, more random nonsense, more menial attempts in satirizing the avant-garde that amounts to nothing. Kinda sad that the show is literally reusing its old jokes because it's that strapped for finding new ones at this point. Either way, this method does allow them to succeed in creating a counter formula that can taint worship's effects and turn everyone against the Fashionistas. They call it disgust. And so, with disgust in hand, the Powerpuff Girls set out to triumph over the Fashionistas' bikini bomber blimp and save the day. Except, instead of being smart and just flying straight into the vat, dumping the solution and bailing out of there, they decide to float around and wait. No rush, no desire to hurry before the villains dump the vat, nothing. Hell, there could have been this awesome fight sequence where the girls fly up to the blimp while the Fashionistas try to blast them out of the sky, but nah, instead Bianca and Barbaros just catch the girls while they do nothing and spray them with perfume because the girls were too stupid not to remember to plug their noses. One would think competent heroes would remember to bring the very item that prevents them from being affected by the villain's main method of attack, especially considering it was proven to work before. But no. Conveniently, the Powerpuff Girls didn't do that. Instead, they idiotically get sprayed and try to fight the effects of the perfume to no avail, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone because they honestly deserve failure if they're never going to learn. And Bianca demands Bubbles give her the vial of disgust.
Do what's best for us, darling.
What's best for you? Okay.
Alright, I'll at least give the episode this. The final climactic moment in which the Fashionistas lose is a good one in the way Bianca's own words are used against her. Having the subjective meaning of the words that Bubbles is told be the ultimate downfall of Bianca when it comes to the powers of mind control? Yeah, I'll take it.
What did you do?
What's best for you? Just like you said, what's best for you is what will make you a better person.
The end result features the Fashionistas getting run out of town, while the Powerpuff Girls relax at home on their couch, satisfied with another job well done. And we even end on a gag that doesn't ruin the moment.
What are you still doing here?
Oh, smoke bomb! Oh, I thought you would leave.
That's a rarity. I say, for only the second episode of the season, Worship was a very enjoyable episode to watch. Much better than that last episode with Mojo. Even with the minor plot contrivances caused by the decisions the heroes make here and there, the evil scheme suits the antagonist well and provides a solid basis for the story. It's so nice seeing the Fashionistas not being wasted again, even if the general idea behind their plan is somewhat recycled from a previous scheme. I'd vouch for Worship again, no doubt. 'Tis quite a good episode on the whole. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next review.